Thank you very much. You may have your seats. To introduce to some of us and then to just remind most of us, would like to play a short, we have a short multimedia presentation to let us know what WenA does and who we are.
In any economy. WenA exists to produce world-class and diverse entrepreneurs who meet the needs of an ever-changing marketplace in Nigeria and across Africa. Over the years, WenA has successfully impacted the lives and businesses of over 5,000 businesses in agriculture and technology. WenA has hosted programs and workshops that address some of the issues that hinder the development of SMEs and sustainable development goals of the United Nations. Our support assists entrepreneurs to build a lasting foundation for their businesses, thereby enabling them to contribute to the economic and social development of the country. WenA has partnered with various private and government institutions within Nigeria, with a central objective to building the capacity of small businesses.
It is very important that we use the right channels to process our import and export, especially in the use of clearing agents.
Women Enterprise Alliance now seeks to partner strategically with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development in 3 major areas. 1. In the area of advocacy. WenA initiative supports women-owned businesses through capacity building program, mentorship, coaching, and access to finance that will help build the business capacity, sustainability, and growth of their businesses. The WenA Entrepreneurship Program is a 10-week capacity building program that includes training through online courses, one-on-one coaching exercises through the monthly WenA Connect Forum. The benefit of WenA to our women is to nurture them to be entrepreneurs who run profitable and scalable businesses with products and services designed for social impact.
Yes, we hot screen our coconut in Nigeria. We farm coconut, but most of our coconuts are from Accra. Facts, the one we use to produce coconut oil, are from Accra. And I can tell you today that it used to be 8,000 naira per bag. As at this morning, it is 16,000 naira.
3. In the area of business development support services. WenA seeks partnership with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to jointly organize business clinics for 500 agribusinesses across Nigeria. Together, we can strengthen our commitment to creating more jobs in the agricultural sector and provide a more enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for WenA. So over the years, WenA has indeed been at the forefront of setting the pace for entrepreneurial development, especially in terms of supporting women through its capacity building programs. And the idea is to produce world-class entrepreneurs who meet the need of an ever-changing marketplace across Nigeria and Africa. The WenA conferences started in 2020 with the first of a kind conference, the 360 Degrees Woman. And the idea was to put out pathways to help the woman reinvent herself and explore opportunities for growth in entrepreneurship. In the same year, WenA had the second conference, which was the WenA Global Enterprise Week, held in collaboration with Standards Organization of Nigeria and the Federal Inland Revenue Service. And it was focused on equipping entrepreneurs, basically. Now, from 6th to 7th of July 2021, WenA held the third conference, which had to do with SME scalability in intra-regional trade, and it was held in Abuja. And in 2022, we're here again for the fourth WenA conference with the theme, Rethinking Paradigm Shift in Agriculture and Initiatives to Enhance Food Security. You can see that WenA is strategically, on a regular basis, empowering and equipping entrepreneurs, especially women, to be at the forefront of entrepreneurial development in Nigeria. I think that deserves a round of applause. And this year's theme is very strategic because according to a United Nations report, 828 million people were added to those affected by hunger And as mentioned yesterday, the war in Ukraine has not made it any easier. This morning, to welcome us to this summit, we would like to welcome, to this conference, we would like to welcome the acting MD CEO of WenA. Is she here, please? Okay. Mrs. Oluwatoyin Matthew, with a round of applause, please.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome you today, and we're so delighted to have you here again. We had a lot to dwell on yesterday, starting with a welcome address by the founder of WenA, Her Excellency Haja Aisha Babangida. She started with a charge to us to provide a long-lasting positive solution to agriculture that will be sustainable for the generations to come. The opening speech by the Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar, also took us in the direction of encouraging smallholder farmers by giving them access to funding to enable them to have a seamless operation as well as create jobs and have poverty eradication and wealth security. We continued with a panel session on food security amidst a global pandemic and climate change. Here we were informed of some of the steps that the government is taking to address a few of the challenges that the steps we all have, and there are steps we all have to take as well. We then moved on to looking at the new irrigation technologies we could adopt for optimal production in agriculture. We have the sprinkler and the drip irrigation systems and the peculiarities for each. This was followed by a panel session on the use of e-commerce platforms for food crops. It is essential that we maximize the opportunities available locally and internationally. We need to leverage on the tech platforms. The last session was on tackling funding for agrotech SMEs for national development. Indeed, there are roles to be played by various segments, which includes the government, the DFIs and the banks, the aggregators, and the smallholder farmers. Each one needs to play its own role to bring the required solutions that we seek. We will be rounding the conference up today with 3 workshop sessions. The first session will be on innovation in farming. We'll be looking at the new trends and new technologies that can be adopted for a sustainable agriculture. We will then have the Agric Publication Workshop, and for this session, we have brought in scholars and professors who will be presenting papers, having been in this field and having done various research on it. We will conclude the workshop on organic farming and certification. The focus here will be to get it right from the beginning to the end. We'll be looking at the kind of soil to be used, the quality of seed to be planted, and all the processes required up to the point of harvesting. The sessions indeed will be fully packed. Having introduced the focus of today, I would like to specially welcome our guests for today, starting with Madam Jennifer Onyebuagu, the Chief Commercial Officer, Vorian Corelli, who will be giving us the keynote speech. We welcome our scholars and professors for the Agric Publication Workshop, Professor Garba Sharubutu, who will be ably represented by Dr. Mrs. Rufina Chukwu Malumi. We welcome Professor Rashid Ojikutu, Dr. Mrs. Noye Anumba, Professor Abigail Jerugi, Dr. Dania Emmanuel, Professor Egena Stephen Sunday, Dr. Agatha, Dr. Ezekiel Yisa, Mr. Israel Kidron, Mr. Eleazar Ogulu. Would also like to welcome Madam Gladys Gomu and the CEO for NISAT, Mrs. Annabelle Kamuche. And to all our guests present here physically and those joining us online, we'd like to say a big welcome. Thank you for coming here again today. We would love you and encourage you to participate just as well as you did yesterday, and be sure to have a good time here today. Thank you.
A round of applause for her, please. I believe that this conference is indeed a deliberate step towards achieving Goal 2 of the SDGs, which is targeted towards zero hunger, improved nutrition, and sustainable agriculture. So we want to thank Her Excellency immensely. Aisha Babangida, we thank you very much for this visionary leadership at this time in our national agenda. So we'll move quickly for time to our keynote speech for today. Mrs. Jennifer Onyebwagu is the Chief Commercial Officer of WenA Corelli. Please, with a round of applause, let us welcome her.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Her Excellency Ma. Thank you for having me. All the dignitaries here present, all the officiators, the organizers, I'm very pleased to be here today. I'll stand on existing protocol. My name is Jennifer Onyebwagu. I'm the co-founder and the Chief Commercial Officer of a company called WenA Corelli. We're an agri-tech company. We have a platform that facilitates buying and selling of agro-commodities, where we have manufacturers who own factories that want commodities, and at the lower end, we have a network of dedicated aggregators who help them supply those commodities. And those aggregators in turn work with the smallholder farmers. And today my topic is e-commerce. Is my topic up? My topic is e-commerce. I just want to read it out so that it's very clear. Is it on the screen? E-commerce, a new business model for the food supply and demand chain. That's the topic for today. But I'm going to break it down into a number of dimensions so that we can understand it. Before I came into the agri-tech space, I spent at least 7 years of my career in the fintech space, in the financial technology space. And I think I was there for almost 7 years. And I witnessed firsthand the evolution of e-payments in Nigeria. I witnessed firsthand the collaboration between the banks, between the incumbent players, and also the fintech players, and how technology has taken e-payment to a new dimension. I would like to take our minds back a bit. I don't know if you can remember, there was a time if you wanted to send money to someone, you'd have to go to the bank, lodge a draft of some sort, wait for like 5 days before the corresponding bank receives and before you get your money. Can we all remember that time? Can you remember the time when if you told somebody, let me send you the money, the person will say, no, please give me cash. Can you remember that time? Please, I have a real question to ask you. Today, can you not literally buy pepper by transferring money to the pepper vendor? They all have bank accounts. Or they'll tell you, use POS, give it to me through POS. What does that tell you? And it is linked to the topic of this entire conference, which is a paradigm shift. What caused the paradigm shift in the payment sector? What caused that shift in behavior? What caused that shift in adoption? Where very traditional players, this is how we've been operating for the past 1,000 years, this is how the CBN is, this is how we've been, suddenly changed their behavior to adopt digital, to adopt technology. And now all over the world, it's almost like the world has been flattened. If you want to send even foreign exchange, it used to be a Herculean task before you receive FX or wire transfer from another country. Now, in 5 to 10 nanoseconds, you get the money. How is that linked to the topic of today when it comes to e-commerce and agriculture? It is a new frontier and a paradigm shift. And the topic is, how can we create a paradigm shift currently in agriculture in the way that we have been operating? So for Vorian Corelli, for instance, we deal in the grains value chain. And in the grains value chain, we don't deal with it at a micro level. We deal with it at a macro level, meaning a manufacturer wants 1,000 metric tons of maize, 2,000 metric tons of sorghum, 10,000 metric tons of soya. That is the level that we play in. So imagine operating a marketplace that facilitates and provides the level of trust, contracting, insurance, de-risking, etc., necessary for a trade to be successful in agriculture. And I hope we all know that e-commerce in agriculture and e-commerce for every other sector is very different. Are we together? Do we have people in agriculture here? Are we together? It's very different. If you go to Jumia today and you wanted to buy a phone or an item, in a matter of same-day delivery is what's happening now. But if you're going to do it in agriculture, unless it's at a micro level, you want to buy a small quantity of maybe meats, livestock, it can come to you. But when you're dealing with a 32 metric ton truck, like 10 of them, it's a different conversation because the ticket value is very high. As I close on my keynote speech, what I would like to urge all the stakeholders here is that there are key attributes for a very successful and viable e-commerce platform for agriculture. For us to have the paradigm shift that the payments ecosystem is experiencing today, there must be technology, there must be insurance, there must be financing. All the incumbents and new players must work together to create a product that indeed can be scalable. And I would like to also encourage all the people here that are working within the agri space, that are creating different solutions to solve different problems in the value chain, that more grease to your elbow. Thank you all so much for joining the 4th edition of the WenA conference. My name is Jennifer Onyebragu. Enjoy yourself and have a very fantastic day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Another round of applause, please. Thank you so much for that very apt and short and to the point keynote. Thank you very much, ma'am. So today we have 3 workshops, and we're going to go straight to them. But before we go straight to them, just to highlight key elements of the keynote we just had. Technology is critical. We must embrace technology. Insurance, the right financing, and de-risking the investments. And lastly, but not least, the e-commerce is a critical enabler, so we must adopt that as well. So our first workshop is in innovation in farming. The facilitator for this innovation is Ms. Gladys Egomo. Is she here, please? So a round of applause for her as she comes up. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Your Excellency. I beg to stand on the existing protocols. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my name is Gladys Sigomu. I'm the CEO of Etema Farms, an agro-consultancy, just a boarding farm. And I've been in agriculture for over 5 years. I've actually been into greenhouse, hydroponics, the innovative part of agriculture. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I trust we'll leave here different and also knowing that every one of us can actually participate in agriculture one way or the other. Thank you. Please, a slide. Okay. Next, please. Yes, I wrote this introduction. I found it on the internet, and I felt we should start from this point. According to UN projections, world population will rise from 6.8 billion as it is today to 9.1 billion in 2050. A third more mouth to feed than they are today. It is further predicted that nearly all of the population growth will occur in developing countries like Nigeria. As population and demand for more food grows, so will urbanization and hence gradual decline of available land, available farmland. As we face this reality, now is the best time to adopt innovative ways of growing food to increase both quantity and quality. As we have seen, very soon, the population of the world is going to grow, and they have also predicted that developing countries like Nigeria, we are going to be having more people. And as there are more people, there will be urbanization. Like if you bought land some years back, you probably bought inside the bush. There was no light, there was no road. And you were hoping that, okay, let me just buy it and leave it. But maybe 5, 10 years ago, today, if you go there, there might be a road now, people are living there. And then people are going further into the bush to buy more land. But as it stays, after a while, you see that urbanization takes that area and then it becomes town. It's no longer like the bush it used to be. So a time will come that everywhere will become developed, like we see in developing countries, and then we'll not be having enough places to farm. So we need other ways of farming, so that even if you are in town, you still be able to farm, to still produce food for yourself, for your loved ones, and for Nigeria and the whole world at large. So what is innovation? Innovation is about doing something new, solving an old problem in a new way, addressing a new problem with a proven solution, or bringing a new solution to new problems. So now, what is agricultural innovation? Or what does it help us to get? What does innovation bring to agriculture? Number one, it helps us to control pests easily, especially if you are farming in a controlled environment like greenhouses. It's an innovation because the conventional ways we farm before, we farm outside. If it's raining, all the rain pour on the crops. If there are insects, everything is on your crops and all that. So it makes farming really difficult. But with innovation, things like greenhouse, hydroponics, and the rest, as we'll see, has made farming easier for us. So what these innovations has really brought to us, it makes it easier for us to control pests, quality control, the quality of the produce from greenhouses or from other innovative forms of agriculture makes the plants looks better, the fruits, the veggies, whatever it is that you are growing through those innovative ways, they come out better than the other ones that pests or other harsh climates would have dealt with. Part of it also is faster growth. Things that are grown, that they are not competing with grasses, they don't have too much sun or so many things fighting it, they come out faster because they are not competing with anything. Less time given to manual labor. To produce a ton of tomatoes, you may need about 50 people, maybe from beginning of clearing the land, making ridges, planting and all that. But innovation has made it very fast for us that within a few weeks, you're already done, or in fact, few days. So we use less water and we get higher yields. Some innovation in farming, there are lots of it. We have in the animal section, in fisheries, and all that, but today we'll be looking at the areas of the agronomic farm, which is, some of them here are greenhouse farming, hydroponics, vertical farming, then seedling productions. These are things that have existed years before now, but for us in this part of the world, it's coming gradually. Maybe like 10, 15 years ago, we didn't know much about it, but as the day keeps going and the years keep passing by, we are coming to get used to it. And I'm sure before long, almost all of us here will have one form or be practicing one form of innovative farming or the other, at least after the program today, because they are simple ones that everybody can do even in their houses. Yes, so since this is a workshop, I wouldn't want to be talking all alone. I want us to participate in one way or the other. And I know we have farmers here, am I right? Okay. Why would a farmer need to grow crops in a controlled environment? I know I said some part of it before, but I'm sure there are still more reasons why a farmer wants to grow crops there. So please, who can tell us? Okay. Yes.
Reduce labor, because if you use technology, the amount of people that you're going to employ will be highly reduced. And at the end of the day, you also have a best product, which it can be marketable in the market. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. That is really very true. And I'm happy that we have people that are seeing the benefits already in the house. Please, we have more people.
My name is Franklin. I'm with the Onida Development Company. The key thing for secured environment is to make sure that your plants are secured in terms of insects, in terms of pests that normally attack. That's the idea of secured environment. Secondly, you can all control your parameters. Is it water you are using? Is it even the soil? If you are not comfortable with the soil, you can prepare your media, package it, like the way we are talking about hydroponic. And thirdly, he talked about adaptation. Sure, there are some varieties that cannot tolerate rain or they cannot tolerate temperature. You see, when you are operating using secured environment, you can use optimal temperature because you control it by either collapsing your air condition or your vent and the rest of them. And at the same time, again, some of the varieties that cannot tolerate rainfall, you see they are secured environment, so that rain will not affect them. So the performance that you're looking for, you get it. You set a target already, and you are getting that target reason because you control your parameters. And at the same time, even the fertilizer you are using, is it soluble, is it granular, whatever set of fertilizer, you control it because it's a secured environment. So you are in charge. You decide what you want. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. So we've heard it, but just to show more of what we already know, we'll just go to the next slide, please. Now, so we said that there are so many innovations in farmings, but we are treating about 4 here because of time and because of other workshops that we'll have. So a greenhouse is a structure, is a cover structure where crops are grown under controlled environment, like he mentioned, to provide optimal conditions for growth. Materials such as polyethylene sheets, net, polycarbonate, and glass are usually used. So like he mentioned, you can define greenhouse in your own terms if you understand it. It's just a place where you just want the plants to be covered. You don't want the plants to be exposed to the elements. You don't want insects or whatever. You want to have control over what happens to your plant. So if you understand it that way, you can define greenhouse farming for yourself. So now there are different materials they use. In climates where it's very cold and they need to heat up the houses or the structure, they use glass house, so that maybe when it's snowing and the place is very cold, they can turn on heaters to keep the place warm, because every crop has a temperature that it requires or it prefers to grow with. So there's another one, polycarbonate. Polycarbonate sheets is also used. Mostly in Nigeria, we prefer to use the polyethylene sheets and then nets by the side, because what we are fighting most will be the temperature. We are trying to reduce our own temperature. Those other people are using glass house because they want to increase temperature, although we can still use glass if we want, because if you are using it, you can also turn on your air conditioning so that it cools down the place, but it's also very expensive. So most greenhouses in Nigeria, we are using that of the polyethylene sheet, which is like a plastic cover, and then net by the side to prevent insects and others. Next, please. So there are types of greenhouses based on technology. You can say types of greenhouse based on the media you are growing them with. You can group them according to different types, but now we are grouping them according to the technology being used inside a greenhouse. So now we have the minimal controlled environment, which is the screen houses. Most of the greenhouses we have in Nigeria are actually supposed to be called screen houses, because most time they are screening out insects and then maybe water. Because most of the greenhouses are not having, let's say, air conditioning systems. If at most we have maybe fans, although there are other places they have, but the most common ones in Nigeria right now is the screen houses, where insects are screened out, rain is limited. Then we have the medium controlled environment. Now, if we see the pictures up, the first one there with the lady, that is a screen house. If you look at it very well, you are seeing that she's still planting in the soil, but there is a net covering it. So this now, she cannot control whatever happens, although she can control to some extent the water that she gives, but she cannot even control what happens to the excess water. They go down. So she doesn't have much control over it. There is no fan or any cooling system or any heating system there. It's just basically the net that is preventing insects from coming in, and then the top that is covered with the plastic bag or polyethylene sheet. Now, the second one is the medium controlled environment. You can see fans up there. So when the place becomes very hot, they can turn on the fan. Or if the place, the heat is much, they can also turn on the sprinklers. There are also sprinklers. Then when you turn on the sprinklers, and then it brings down the temperature a little, and then the humidity increases, and you turn on the fan, so the place becomes even cooler. So that's an example of the medium controlled environment. Then the full controlled environment, you can see this third one here, where they show you, you can see things like the humidity, the temperature, and everything. So when you have something like this in your greenhouse, and it tells you, you can even set to your computers automatically that when the temperature reaches like 30 degrees, you should trigger a sensor that will cool down the environment. Maybe you use your air conditioning system, or you use humidifier, or whatsoever you want to use. Next slide, please. So profitable crops to be grown in, that can grow in greenhouses. There are lots of crops you can grow in greenhouses. Of course, you may not want to grow something like cassava in greenhouses or potatoes. Why? Because those ones can do outside. So you will not want to put your money to construct greenhouses and then begin to plant something that can grow outside. So you look for the ones that are profitable, that you know if they come out looking finer and better, people will patronize you more. So we have crops like sweet melon, we have tomatoes, we have pepper, you can do flowers as well. You have cucumbers, bitter gourd, lettuces. The crops are endless, but you should choose the one that you know if you grow inside will give you more money. So you won't just want to go and grow maybe ugu that you know you can just take at the back of your house. So the pros of greenhouses: pest and disease prevention. We already mentioned that. As you can see, the net from outside. You see, because of the net, insects cannot get inside easily. And if you are maintaining the process of closing your doors well, you make sure that before you enter inside, there are no insects around, or some people go to even secure it more by having an air blower at the door. So immediately you try to open the door, air blower comes up and then blows out any insect that may want to come in with you. Immediately you enter, you lock it. So you prevent insects from entering. That way, some people have double doors. So you have the first door, you open, you enter, and then there's a second door, so that if anything comes inside with you, you can decide to kill it if you can. Then when you are sure that the first door is clear, then you can open the inside door before going in. So we also see increased yield, like we have said. Unlike the conventional farming that your crop is growing here, grass is growing by the side, nothing is fighting for the nutrients, so it has all the energy to grow. Insects are not coming to bite it, to add specks to it, so it actually makes it better. You can grow year round. So because tomatoes does not like plenty water, and that is why we have less tomatoes during the rainy season, except for now that innovation is also bringing in rainy season tomatoes. So this year, if you notice, we are having more tomatoes because of the rainy season variety. So there are more tomatoes that can tolerate rainy season now, but if you want to grow the exotic type, like maybe beef tomatoes and Romas and the other ones, you may still want to use the greenhouse. Okay. So ability to grow exotic crops, job opportunity for people like us, it has been a job for like 6 years, and for a whole lot of others. You have increased profits. If somebody is planting, let's say cucumbers outside, and the cucumber is not looking very fine, and then you are planting yours in a greenhouse and you bring your own very clean and straight, you know, people will rush to buy your own more. So it increases your profit, then better taste and look. So what are the disadvantages? The disadvantages of greenhouses, I will not call it disadvantage though. I'll call them limitations, because to all the limitations, there are ways we can actually find solutions to them. So we have pollination challenges, experts needed in the setup process. For example, this first one, experts needed in the setup process. I went to a farm and then they had a problem. The people that, should I say, put the greenhouses together after they were imported were just normal people that feel, okay, we can do it. So they did it the wrong way. They just faced it in the wrong direction and just messed up the orientations. The disadvantage of that was, instead of it, the vent facing a place that the hot air will be going outside, it faced an area that the hot air were trapped inside. And when you are growing in such area, we already have hot temperature in Nigeria, so adding to it is a total disaster. Your crops will not do well. You will be having your crops that are stressed, the leaves are always droopy and they are not looking fine at all. So you actually need an expert to tell you, okay, this is where this should face, this is how it should be, and all the other parameters. Pollination challenge. If you are growing in the greenhouse, for crops that have to flower and then bring out fruit, it's difficult. For crops like cucumber, though, they are self-pollinating, so you don't have much problem. But if you are dealing with crops like tomatoes, it will be difficult to pollinate, except if you have bumblebees that you can release, maybe every 2 to 3 days, you release them so that they can pollinate the flowers, or you use other methods. I don't know if the video there can play. This is a video. We compressed the PowerPoint to be able to send it through WhatsApp, so maybe that is the problem, why it's not playing. But anyways, if it could play, you see the man there using a manual method of pollination. So he has a stick in his hands that he gently hits on the plant, hitting it this way because the anther and stigma of the flowers, that's the male and female part of the flower, they are inside one tube. So if you gently tap it, the pollens will mix up together and then the pollination will occur. So if you don't have bees, that's why I say to every problem, there is a solution. So that's why I'm not seeing it as a big challenge. So if you want to pollinate your tomatoes, you can just use the stick to just tap gently on the plant. Some people use toothbrush. This electric toothbrush, you just bring it close to the flowers and then it vibrates and mixes up the pollen and then it's pollinated. But if you are growing inside and you don't do that at all and then there is no wind in that area, you may be having just little tomatoes and then you'll be wondering, is it that the place I bought the seed is not good or what's really happening? But it's actually pollination problems. So you see as we go further, there are some fruits that will be so plenty and be so big when you are doing your pollination well. So for you to have big fruits, for you to have plenty of it, you can actually find manual ways of pollinating. So high operational costs, electricity, etc. For example, if you are operating the medium or environmentally controlled or the full one, you are going to have much problems or little problems if you are not using solar, because if you are running on diesel, as we know now, the price has become very high. It may be very difficult for you to keep running it. So if everything is okay, the temperature is hot now, how do I control? So imagine you are using a glass house for your greenhouse. So when the place becomes very hot, what do you do? And you don't have light. It becomes another problem. So that's one of the challenges we are having. But not so bad, because if you are using a greenhouse, like a screen house now, the net one, or even any type you are using, you can use shade net. They are aluminum kind of shade nets that you throw on the clothes or on the nylon on top, or you can even use. I think the lady doing nursery, when we get there, you see some people use this our local palm tree. They cut the branch of the palm trees and then just put it on top. They raise it high on top so that it's not on the crop though. You put it on top when the weather is very hot to bring down the temperature as well. Then high upfront costs if you are buying A structure, depending on which type of structure you are buying, is expensive, at least to buy for the first time. And then getting professionals to manage it. And that's another issue. If you don't have somebody that can manage your greenhouse very well or understands how to do it, it's going to be another problem. Because growing inside, you just be making lots of mistakes. So a professional is needed. So that is the end for greenhouse. We are entering another topic. So what does a plant really need to grow? As a farmer or even general in life, you see plants growing, you see grasses growing in the soil or anywhere. What do you think is really responsible for plant growth? This side has really been quiet. Please, can somebody help this side or even the middle? Can just say one thing that helps a plant to grow? Yes, ma?
You need a viable seed, number one. Then you need a good soil, a fertile soil, a humus soil. Then you need sunlight, you need water, you need CO2, carbon dioxide. Then other things come along.
Thank you, ma. Thank you so much. You're right. Any other person? Even if it's one, you can mention. Okay.
The plant needs sunlight, proper temperature, moisture, air, and nutrients.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. So, someone mentioned soil, and I'm interested. What is in the soil that plants really need? You know, we used to grow plants on the soil most times. There must be something in the soil that everybody is running to make sure they are growing in the soil. Nutrients, yes. He mentioned oxygen. There's actually oxygen in the soil as well. There is water. And the soil has anchor. It gives anchor and balance to the plant. So it means if we can bring all these things together, we can plant anywhere. So what the soil has that makes us to plant there is actually the water, the support it gives to the plant, which is anchor, the oxygen, and then the nutrient, majorly. That's what is in the soil. So what if we are able to get it from somewhere? Does it mean it will grow? Yes. Because if you see rooftops, plants are growing there. If you see strange places, I went for an agric show once. I don't have the picture. I would have also added it to the slide. I saw plants growing in a shoe, like a high heel. They just grew a plant on top. And I was like, wow, this is fine. So if you know the principles of farming, you can actually grow crops inside your plate or anything, or you can use your cap and the plant will grow there. Just like we said. Okay, so hydroponics. Hydroponics is a system of farming which uses water enriched with nutrients to grow plants. This system does not require the use of soil like the conventional farming. And again, first of all, try to understand what hydroponics is, then define it in your own way. We just said now that the reason why we use the soil is because of what is inside. So now hydroponics is a different thinking, telling you that, okay, you can actually grow plants using water, nutrient, and then you get to find out where the anchor and the oxygen and other things come into play. So, as you can see this picture, what is down is actually water. This lower part is water. I don't know if you can see it clearly. There is water. You can see the root is not in sand or anything. The roots are directly feeding from the water that has nutrient inside. And then for the anchor, are we seeing the anchor already? The white styrofoam is the anchor. Then inside the water, there's an oxygen pump that gives it oxygen, which we also said is needed. And then the other thing is sunlight, which comes from up. And this is inside a greenhouse, so the sunlight comes from up. So you see that you can actually plant in anywhere you want. So this one now is planted here. It's planted here in a container. You see the bigger picture. In a large container, that is where it's planted. But if you can do it in a large container, you can also do it in a smaller container. If you have your nutrient, your water, your anchor, and you put it in the sunlight. When we were in primary school, they used to tell us, okay, grow a bean seed. Put it inside the room. Put it close to the window. After 1 week, then bring it back to class. So you see that when you plant it, when it sprouts, it starts going towards light, which is the window. So they were already telling us the importance of sunlight and the others. So we have different types of hydroponics, depending on the one you want to do or the one you have access to. So we have the deep water culture, we have the nutrient film technique, wick system, drip system, ebb and flow, flood to drain system, aeroponics. So the wick system, I actually wish the videos could play. If you can get a flash. So you see videos where somebody just used this bottled water to grow crops. So you see the wick system, it works like kerosene lamp. Do we know kerosene lamp? You know, you put your kerosene in the lower portion of the lamp, then you have a wick that transfers the kerosene through the rope, and when you light, it actually catches fire. When your kerosene is finished, then that's the end of it. So it's the same principle that works for this wick system, the first one you are seeing there. So you put like a cotton material under, and then you lift the plant up, and then the root is actually taking water and then the nutrients. We have the ebb and flow system, whereby you have like a container. You can set the timing. The water comes maybe after like 5 minutes. It flows and then it stops. So that's the ebb and flow. Then we have the NFT. We'll have the NFT. We'll get to see more of the picture. We'll have the water culture. The water culture is the picture you saw in the hydroponics, whereby you just leave the root dangling in water that is rich in nutrients. We have the drip system, and then we have aeroponics. This is actually supposed to be another video. Maybe before we go, we'll find a way of playing the video. Okay, fine.
Hey, don't throw that away.
Why? Are you recycling?
I'm going to turn this into money, not recycling them.
But how? Money?
Yes. A lot of money. You will be surprised with the amount of money that I will make. Give me my bottles. You are not throwing them away. There is another way to make money with this, not recycling them. Now I'm going to show you. The first thing you have to do is this.
A hole in the cap?
Exactly. Now the hole is done. Now in this part here we are going to cut it like a funnel, okay? And then we place it like this. We are going to make a lot of money.
Okay, and this is the way we are going to make money?
Watch this till the end and you will see. Look, I'm going to use this string. This is a cotton string, but it can be anything made from cotton. You can strip an old t-shirt, and what we have to do is to insert the string on the hole. You see that so far, we haven't spent a dime. We are going to do this only with things that we have at home. Bottles, cotton strings, or old t-shirts. This is for the ones who like to make and save money. Take a look here, you see?
Yes, insert the string on the cap.
I'm going to leave it like this, okay?
Aha.
The next thing we are going to need is a little bit of soil. We can take it from the backyard. Or we can buy a little, this is cheap. And you see that I still haven't spent a dime. And now I'm going to put it here.
Yes.
The soil is very cheap. Or we can take it from our backyard. If you don't have any, you can buy some. And now, we have to leave the bottle just like this, okay?
Aha. And the string goes like this?
Exactly. And see how it reaches the bottom here. The next thing we are going to use here is this.
What's this?
Lettuce seeds. They were a couple of cents only. Now we do this with our finger and we place it right here. We are going to use a few lettuce seeds. We will place them right here.
Ah, okay. But I still don't know what is that string for.
The string?
Aha.
This string is the big secret, because this will make the automatic irrigation. That's why it starts here, passes through the funnel, and goes to the bottom. You can travel or go on vacations, and you only need to water them once, so it will go from the bottom through here to the soil.
Ah, okay, so the water goes up over the string?
Exactly. Now you know why we use the string for?
Now I know.
To make the automatic irrigation. We don't have to be here to do so. So, we are going to put a little bit of water here. This has to be filtered water. It has to reach almost to the cap of the bottle. Since our seeds are already here, I'm going to put some drops of water here also.
To moisten them a little.
To activate them, those drops will activate the seeds. So, do you know what will happen now?
No.
Now we are going to take this here, and we will place it in a well-ventilated spot. It can be, for example, here. A well-ventilated spot.
Okay, I understand.
And you know what I will do now?
No.
I only need to wait 2 months, and this will burst out of lettuce here.
Really?
Yes, we will have a lot of lettuce pots here. So, see what will happen after 2 months. We will have all this here.
Wow, how beautiful.
Do you see this here?
Yeah.
It will be like this after 2 months. Look at the leaves, how healthy they are. Remember what I told you about the secret?
Yes, the string is there.
The water goes over the string here. Now, take a look at how you are going to make money with this.
Wow, how beautiful.
Look here, look what happens after 3 months. Do you see how they look?
Very interesting.
The secret is here, look. The string takes the water from the bottom to the top of the bottle.
Yes.
And down again.
That's...
Okay. Sorry, I had to cut it because of the time. So, like we have seen, I told you that by the time you leave here today, there is no reason why you will say you will not be able to plant food. So that when urbanization comes in the 2050, they have told us everybody will have food to grow. So, for example, I'm not saying it to be, imagine if we go back to the ancient days where you have to do trade by barter. You have to bring one kind of crops to exchange for the other. So if you don't know how to farm, or you do not have land, or you say, oh, I don't have land, I live in Abuja, I don't even have a backyard, I can barely even see a soil, everywhere is concrete. Now you see what you can actually do. You can actually grow inside your room, and he used soil. You can use stone. All you need to do is to make sure that the seedling germinates first, and then the roots come out. Then you can even put it on stone. Remember, the only thing that you need is anchor, water, nutrient, oxygen, and sunlight. And for a small one like this, you really don't need oxygen. You see why he was saying you need to put in a ventilated area. There's actually small space that oxygen can still enter. And because it's a small one, if you keep changing the water, there's oxygen in water, so it can still actually work fine. So we really don't have a reason why not to start practicing innovative farming in one way or the other. So crops you can grow, I already said you can grow in the hydroponics, you can still grow your leafy greens, cabbage, tomatoes, pepper, strawberry, cucumber, whatever you want to grow. But for every system of hydroponics, there should be what will go best. So for example, if you want to grow tomatoes, you cannot use this weak system that we just saw now because it will not support it. So you think of the best system to use to grow whatever crops you want to grow. So, but for this system, you can actually do lettuce, spinach, basil, those ones that are vegetative, and then they don't require support. Okay. So the advantages, the growth, faster rate growth, because they are not fighting with weeds. You actually use less water because you control the water. If rain falls on your crops, let's say in a conventional farm, you cannot even save it. There is no way you want to say, okay, the water that is on the ground, let me just carry it and put somewhere. Or if it's during rainy season and you are watering your garden, maybe you planted ugu or greens or whatever in the back, you cannot manage the water, because if you are pouring, you have to pour much, and then the excesses just go underground. But if you are doing innovative farming or greenhouse or hydroponics, you can actually use little quantity of water. Like the video we saw, he actually had to use small water. And then the water can be there. Like he said, you can plant it and travel for 1 week, 2 weeks, and then the water will be going gradually until when it's drying up, you can top it again. So you actually use less water in whatever form of hydroponics. You can grow anywhere at all. You use smaller spaces. Obviously, you know why it's using smaller space. If you are growing in the soil, you plant one here, you have to give space. But if you are doing hydroponics, you can put them together, and then there will be no issue. Then better taste. It grows crop all year round. So if you look at the lady there, she has lettuces on this deep water culture system of hydroponics. You see the ones in front are actually grown. Then the ones she's staying close, they are still small. So she can harvest the ones there, maybe this week. In the next 2 weeks, she's harvesting. So she's continuously producing on and on without any breakage. And then you see the reasons why your plants will grow faster in hydroponics is because you are actually giving it everything it needs. You can see this instrument there. It checks the temperature. In case the temperature of the water or the environment is getting too much, you can actually add. You can actually turn on your fan, turn on your cooling system, roll on the shade net or whatsoever you want to use to cool the temperature. You see it has your EC and pH meter. Meanwhile, your EC or TDS means the strength of your fertilizer. Let me put it that way. So the EC meter measures the strength of your fertilizer. In as much as we are going to be growing, if you are going to be using fertilizer, you have to check the strength. It's just like in conventional farming. If you use too much fertilizer, your crop will burn. So in hydroponics, it's still the same. Not because you are now using water, be like, okay, let me just keep pouring. No, you are still going to be checking. And tools like this are the things you use to check for the concentration of the fertilizer, or is the system acidic or alkaline. So we have the disadvantage. Like I say, in every disadvantage, we will always find a solution. I don't want anybody to leave here today and say, you know, the thing was too much, that is why I couldn't do it. We will find a way and do it. So consumes more power, and I've said if you cannot fully control your system, we can use palm tree, the palm leaves, and cover your structure. Even if you just use stick to make the top, and then just build a small shack or something, you can use palm frond to cover the top. If you don't want to expose it to the sunlight, you can use shade net, you can use fans, or if you have water hose, you just carry hose and pour on when the weather is very hot, pour on your net or wherever you are growing, then allow it to cool. As it's cooling, the temperature will drop. So it requires constant monitoring. Because if your water is going down as the plant is taking in the water, and your fertilizer is there, the concentration might become stronger. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So let's say you put 4 liters of fertilizer in 20 liters of water. And then you have much plants, and then the plants are taking out the water very fast, the concentration of your fertilizer may increase. So if it happens and then the concentration is so high and you are not quickly there to use your EC meter to check it, your plant may start burning. It actually needs you to keep coming. Or maybe something is wrong with the system and you've been away for 1 week, 2 weeks, or 3 days. It cannot regulate itself since it's not in the natural environment. So the technical know-how, of course. As you can see, in the technical know-how, the picture up there was me and my boss when I first started the work. He was teaching me how to control everything using the computer. I was telling myself silently, God, will I ever know this thing? Will I be able to understand? But this is me down, and this is 2019, 18, and I already know how to operate it. And I've known how to operate even more complex ones, so everybody can learn it. It's just a matter of maybe 2 weeks. If you're even smart enough, you know everything. 1 week safe. Even if it's 1 day, at least you know how to turn on the fan and off it. And then eventually you learn everything. And therefore saying it may be very expensive or I cannot start, this is another video. I actually did this one in one of the farms recently to show that, okay, everybody can grow. This is normal water. This is styrofoam for anchor, there is nutrient. And then you see, the roots are already coming out very tiny. You see the tiny roots? They are coming out. I actually have a picture for when it's already grown and now we have harvested it. And this is actually fish water. We'll get to that part. So you can use fish water. So if you know somebody that is producing fish, you can just go to the person's house with your gallon. Please give me 5 liters of water. All you need to get your favorite seed. So, of course, with this system, you can only do leafy green because how will you anchor it? Or how, if it's too big, you'll not be able to manage it. So just get lettuce seeds. Mr. Onida has seeds outside. Buy seed. Then go get a styrofoam to make it very easy. It's not like the styrofoam you are seeing down there. This one, you might not find it easily. So this one is, maybe you bought television, you bought radio, those things are coming, just cut it. Use knife and make a hole. Use pen and draw circle. Then use knife or razor, trace those holes, make a hole. But when you are doing it, make sure the under hole is smaller than the bigger one because it's only root that is coming out. You understand? The top one should be bigger to give space for the vegetables to grow on top. So just get fish water. This one you can do it safe, even as you are going home today. If you have fish water, you can just grow the vegetable you eat. With this one, it's even faster. Me, I like some of my veggies. I prefer to eat it tender. So maybe after 3 weeks, it's already ready. You just snip 1 or 2, and then you plant another one. Then you are not buying lettuce again. But I'm not saying we should take the market from other people, but it's just to let you know you can actually do something. So in case we go back to the olden days that you have to bring something, you know you are bringing lettuce to collect tomato or cassava from somebody. Okay, so that's the end of hydroponics. You have a question? Okay. Oh, yes. Yes. Sorry I didn't mention that. You can actually get seedling trays, or you need a seed to sprout, or you can do it 2 ways. You either get soil. After making those holes on the styrofoams, you can get soil put there and drop your seed. You don't need to even water the top. As you are putting the styrofoam on top of the fish water or whatever water you need, it will start sucking out water and then it will start growing on its own. Alternatively, you can decide to grow it somewhere first. Like for me, I have seedling trays, and it's something everybody can get. If you go to a gardening shop or meet Mr. Onida still, you can get seedling trays. I think it's less than 1,000 naira for 250 cells or 108 cells or whatsoever. You can even buy a garden soil. There are special lightweight soil they call potting soil. Just fill it up. Then you just drop your seed on top. And then I think we'll have a picture here that will show more of it. You drop your seed on top and then leave it for like a week or 2 weeks. And then you see it will come up. You just remove it from the cell. Have land or soil close to us, or we don't even have space if we have the land. How can we grow crops? Okay, sir.
Okay. You've already started it all. Now, in urban areas, we may advocate for adoption of aeroponics, soilless farming. Soilless farming, you've shown aeroponics, hydroponics, aquaponics, vertical farming, as the case may be. And I want to believe this should be the paradigm shift in urban food production. So now the technicalities now is a different thing.
Thank you, sir. And that is why I really appreciate Our Excellency for bringing this kind of program. It's really nice because now it opens our eyes to see that this is doable. She's bringing She's bringing the dream of our sustainable goals, zero hunger and all those things to life. So I think we should put another round of applause for her for doing this great job. Thank you, ma. Yes, please. We had some hands there, okay.
Okay, thank you. In addition to all the ponics, hydroponics, and aquaponics, I think non-technical, simple homes can adopt sack and container gardening. The typical example is what we watched in the video, and we can also use cement sacks, gari bag sacks, and other sacks to plant. In my house, the water leaf we have are planted in sacks, and for a long time we've not had to buy water leaf. Thank you.
No, thank you, sir. That's innovative.
Just in addition to what he had said, what we did in my own compound is to get disused tires and then fill them with sand, soil, and then you plant. This can only be done with vegetables, not for tubers. Yeah, so you just put them there, they will grow, and you get, because they are climbing plants, you just get sticks and stake them like ugu. Before you know it, your fence is everywhere with ugu leaf.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay.
Thank you very much. In addition, we can use used bottles, just like you presented.
Yes.
Use plastic bags. Then in Israelis, they use decking.
Thank you very much for the very wonderful presentation. And after listening to your presentation and some of the video clips, some of these video clips have gone viral. We have watched it severally, but I believe my submission is to challenge the convener of WenA to probably, after this conversation to create innovation platform for Nigeria. Because part of the challenges we have left everything in the hands of social media, and they come and go. After a brief, that's the end of the story. So I suggest that some of these, your video clips, even your presentation today, should be retained permanently on WenA Innovation Platform, so that people can visit there, continue to interact, and engage and find the possibility of practicing. Because we don't have to wait to 2050 when food security challenges will send all of us into scavenging or begging for food. So right now, with some of these technologies and ideas that you have, we can begin to upload them on the innovation platform so that people can visit. So at the end of this workshop, in the next 1 year, there will be testimonials in another WenA conference that following some of the benefits I derived after participating, these are some of the things I've done, and they have moved a step like you. And that is why even in the university system today, what we try to do is to teach entrepreneurship. I will one day invite you to come and even engage and interact with some of our students, where you will be surprised that it could be the turning point of many of them if they have to learn some of this from you. I want to give you a very good example. I won't divulge the details. I was looking for a prospective manager of an hydroponic setting. And after interacting with so many of our students, including those who have master's degree, they don't even have idea about hydroponics. They went into agronomic studies in crop protection, agronomy, and so on, but the university could not afford to set up a simple greenhouse technology that could teach students hydroponics. So you can imagine when you talk about ASU strike, people they think it's about salary. It's not. It's about the needed infrastructure to make sure that any product of your system is well equipped, not based on paper qualification. Because I'm sure you will be a very good visiting professor to some universities now. I'm telling you, don't know honesty. Because we are busy teaching theories. We are busy equipping students with certificates they can get first class. But if you bring them to stage to come and demonstrate this, they cannot. We have graduates of first class grade of computer science. They don't know how to operate computer because they have not seen one. So how do we train students like that? So I say kudos, and convener, I congratulate you for exposing many people like this. And let it not end here. I want to see ONIDA contributing to that platform so that people can interact, see to the site, and learn and practice. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Just to add, I'm very happy, and I want again to thank Ms. Aisha Babangida for doing that. But I would like to put things in a bit of perspective, because at the end of the day, we are sitting here in Nigeria, we are talking about innovation in agriculture. But for your knowledge, this innovation is 50, 60 years old. I was building greenhouses in the 80s in Kenya. So when we talk about innovation, we just need to use everything which is existing. And I'm very happy that people like Gladys have been exposed and can present that, what is missing in Nigeria. And I can tell you from experience, I've been employing hundreds of graduates in agriculture. Their exposure to modern agriculture is next to zero. What they learn when they work and when they practice it, within 6 months, 1 year, they know much more than what they learned throughout their 3-4 years in university. And that must be changed. There is no university in Nigeria which is having actually practically this modern technology to expose the students which are finishing the graduation in agriculture. And that means that we are 30 years behind. And 30 years behind even to other African countries. If you look at Kenya or Ethiopia today, they are one of the most advanced in agriculture worldwide, not just in Africa. And there is no reason why it should be possible there and not possible here in Nigeria, which is the biggest market and the biggest agriculture sector in Africa. So I believe that we have to take that forward, to take it seriously and get together with all the stakeholders to make sure that there is more exposure and we have more skilled people, because agriculture and this kind of agriculture cannot succeed without people who have the expertise. And that must be taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Cool. The last person, then we'll continue. Okay. Oh, we are having more hands up. Okay.
Okay, just in line with what Mr. Onida said, a thought just came to me. Now, this technology is, we wouldn't say it's widely used in Africa, for instance. So we have a lot of tech schools. Today we're talking about women, we're talking about smallholder farmers. So what are we thinking in terms of using locally fabricated materials? For instance, I've heard of wood, wood greenhouses. And I mean, it will be less, more cost effective. So what are we doing to explore that? Seeing that already women are a little bit disadvantaged when it comes to access to productive resources, so we can begin to look, at exploring, locally fabricated materials, just so that we could ensure wide, adoption of this technology. Thank you.
Okay. We're having more hands.
Good morning, everyone. I know I came a little bit late, but I've learned something. There is something one man said about planting in a bucket. I know I've planted in a bucket, this 20 liter. My sister just got it broken, and so, wow, let me just put soil and put yam. And I harvested 2 tubers of yam from it. So I want to ask, is there no technology of planting soilless, tubeless plants? Because, of course, I don't have space in my house again, so I need you to plant all those tubeless. Okay. That's my question. Thank you.
Okay, I'll write it down. Okay. Okay, please, can we... Okay, the last one. See, please just write down your question. Let's write down the question, then we can take it so that we don't spend so much time, please.
All right, thank you for the privilege. I still want to satisfy my curiosity. When you talk about planting in the greenhouse, you're trying to tell us that we can actually do what we are doing on the field in the greenhouse, bringing all that we'll be getting on the field to the greenhouse. You talk about water, you talk about aeration, you talk about the seedlings or the seed itself, but I'm still wondering, you talk about soil, but this time around you're like, what soil will give to the plant, we can actually get it to the plant in the greenhouse. So how are we going to get it? Is it through fertilizer, or how do we get that very aspect? Putting others into play now, water, aeration, whatever, but the very nutrients in the soil, how do we get it?
Okay, thank you. Please, we'll just write down our questions, then we'll continue.
All right, so please kindly note your questions. Note the questions, and then after the presentation, we'll take all the questions at the same time, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I will start from you. You see this last one we did, the video, the one I showed you of the lettuce that was growing in that bucket. I actually used fish water. Wow, okay. Actually use fish water. You know, fish water has nutrients. It's rich in ammonia, then it's further broken down to nitrates that the plants take up. So that's fertilizer. So let's assume that the fish water has fertilizer. Then you can use other fertilizers They are liquid fertilizers formulated for whatever crop you want to plant. There are also NPKs that are soluble that you can actually use. And then you can even use compost. If you want to turn it to liquid, there are ways of doing it. Maybe we can discuss later. You can actually put it in water and then allow it for a certain number of days, then filter out the water. It's still fertilizer in case you want to do organic. So you can actually get fertilizer. Then for our sister that mentioned tubers, people are actually using, they use soil, but they plant in bags, like you said. And there are other innovative ways that you can actually grow your tubers. People are using, beetroot, for example, is tubers. People actually use even soilless to grow it. So as the fruit comes out, it keeps pushing up, and then the root goes under, and then when it's grown, you can remove the root and you still get some of your tubers. Then somebody also mentioned about locally fabricated greenhouses. Yes, it's being done. In fact, because I've worked in a high-tech, I'll call it high-tech greenhouses. I've worked in minimal controlled, medium controlled, and even some high-techs. And now I'm on my own. It's different when you're working with somebody and then the person has all the money and then can do all the gadgets, and then you say, okay, this is my passion, let me try something for myself. Right now, I'm using a smaller greenhouse, and like you said, I may not have all the financing now, but I might be able to afford to get bamboo and do a bamboo greenhouse. Since I know the principle, the most important is for you to know the principles. What is needed, and then you can see how you can put it up. And then, our daddy said here, he mentioned what you learned in school, and then you come to the outside world, and then it's different. I actually experienced it. I studied agricultural economics from University of Agriculture. So after coming out, and then after NYC, I was looking for a white-collar job. I didn't get. After like 6 months of staying in the house, I was like, okay, what is my passion? What do I really want to do with my life? Part of it was farming. So the little money I could get from my parents, I started going from one farm to the other. I Googled farms. I started going, and then the first farm I went to was Rayua Farms. It was it's being managed by a woman. I met her, I told her, I just finished, I don't have a job now, I want to be doing something till I get a job. And she was like, okay, which area would you want to go to? Poultry, this. And I said, ma, please suggest for me. She said, okay, I should go to the greenhouse. That, do I know the greenhouse? I didn't want to lose the opportunity. I said, I have little experience, but I didn't know. When I got to the greenhouse, it was a shocker. I was like, I don't even know what's happening here. Nobody prepared me for this. School did not prepare me for this. That day I posted on WhatsApp, I was like, all this one they are teaching us in school is different. If you see the real life one, you know. I had never seen a greenhouse. I know there was a structure in school, but I was not curious enough to even enter and see what was happening. Eventually, when I was discussing with my schoolmates, they were like, it was a seed experimental center. It wasn't even a greenhouse. So I started working. Immediately I went there. I found favor with the woman. She said I should go as a greenhouse supervisor. My greenhouse assistant supervisor, my supervisor then was a secondary school leaver. But he knew it so much. I followed him. I used to call him Oga Steven. I followed him bumper to bumper. And then the people that I was learning from were people that, some of them didn't even go to secondary school or even primary school. They were the locals within that Nasarawa state that were working there. So if they are working, I'm not doing Oga, I'll follow them. I'll be working with them, seeing what they are doing. I had an advantage. I had an advantage over them because everything I was doing, I was going to Google it. So when I'm saying something, why will they put rope, make the thing go up? They'll call one funny name that I will not understand. They are explaining it in their own terms, but I'll Google it. And then I'll find it. We're having issues like blossom end rot that makes the tomato bottom to be black. They were calling it, sorry to use this word, black yash or something like that. But, you know, I had to snap it, take it to Google and find out, okay, it was blossom end rot, you know. And then I started knowing within 2 to 3 months, I had known more than them. And I was now earning my position as the assistant supervisor. And then, and from there we continued, and then worked in different places, and then a time came and I was like, okay, let me do something for myself, because since I'm still young, this is the time I have. I can always consult for the other farms I've worked or go back in one way or the other, but let me start something for myself, and then I started small. Thank you. Because of time, we'll just quickly run through this one. My time should be remaining like 5 minutes or so. Okay, so vertical farming. I like to give the easiest description. I don't want to use plenty literature so that we understand it and then we define it for ourselves. Vertical farming is a system of growing crops in a vertically stacked layer. So if you are planting it vertical, even if it's on the wall and it's on top of each other, it's vertical farming. If it's slanty, provided they are on top of each other and then they are saving space, it's just vertical farming. Benefits, beneficial crops grown through this system will have still lettuce, microgreens, basil, every other thing that we've spoken about. Next, types of vertical farming by growing system. We have the hydroponic system, aquaponic system, growing media. We even have the aeroponic system as well. So it's just like we said earlier, you can do this vertical farming system, you still give nutrients to the crop. They are either using air or mist to just pump it up through aeroponics to the roots of the crops, or they are actually growing through water, or solutions are passing under the roots, or you are using aquaponics, you are integrating fish farming and the vertical farming together. So you have a fish farming, the water enters a particular tanks, it goes to, runs under the roots of the plant, and then it's still getting nutrients. Or you can even do vertical farming using normal soil, cocoa coir, rock wool, or whatsoever. Next, please. So these are other different types. The advantages, year-round farming. The advantages are actually like the advantages of greenhouses or hydroponics. Next. And the cons, technology-dependent, light, cooling. And like I told you, to every problem, there is a solution. So you can see, if you cannot do the high and mighty one, you can actually use bamboo. You can use sawdust, like this lower one here. You can use whatever, but you see, it's still vertical. You have done vertical farming. Next, please. What is a nursery? Let's go because of time. So a nursery is a place where plants are first grown and given careful attention before being moved to the permanent size. Like you are taking your child to a nursery school. They just, first of all, give the child the initial, training to come up. Then you can now take the child to primary, university, or to whatever level you want. So people are actually making money from nursery now. You can see this is Hannah. Hannah does nursery business to other growing she does. She buys seeds from companies like Onida and different companies. I like calling Mr. Onida because I've bought seeds and so many things from him in the past. So she gets the seed, she raises the crops. There are people that cannot really manage a nursery, and there are some people that do not have the facility or do not have the patience to do the nursery. So she can raise it for you, and then you say, okay, in the next 3 weeks, I want to plant cucumber or whatever you want to plant. Please, can you raise so and so numbers for me? She'll start raising it for you. You have enough time to start preparing the area you want to plant it on. You quickly do everything you want, and then when it's ready, you go there maybe very early in the morning or late in the evening or in the night, so the plants are not stressed. You carry them, and then you transplant them. And then some people take it to another level. She's doing in the seedling trays. You can see me down here. I decided to do my own. After doing that system, I brought it to this cup system so that the roots would develop more. So I feel for me, this one will come out better, and then it buys me time. So if I'm transplanting to the greenhouse but I've not finished cleaning it, instead of leaving it there, because after like 3 weeks, it outgrows this place and the space can no longer take the root. So you quickly move it here, and this one can still buy you like extra 3 weeks or even 1 month before you take it to the permanent site. So when you bring it out of the cup, it looks like that one there. Now the roots are formed, and the chance of survival for this one is even higher than this smaller one. Then you can see another lady there starting her own nursery farm in a small way. So you must not start big. Next, please. And if you say you don't even have this other one, I no get that one, madam. I just see, plant it outside. This is still a nursery. You can still do this one. Next, please. And next, is that all? Okay, yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Please, for questions and answers, just write your questions on the paper. We'll collect them and then she will answer them. Thank you. I think there are a few questions here. So if you have any questions, just write them on a piece of paper, hand them to the ushers, and then they'll get them across to me. Thank you.
Planting of yam can also be done inside cement sacks or other kind of sacks. I have done it, and it worked perfectly. Wow. So that's also in response to the sister that was asking about growing in other ways. So somebody just said now you can actually plant yams in bags. So it's still a form of innovative farming, and you can still do it within your house. Just make sure that it has enough sunlight. I am a student of Federal University of Technology, final year student of Agriculture and Bioresources Engineering, working on a project, aquaponics in combination of irrigation. I don't know if I can... Don't worry, this one is fast now. Okay. More questions, or we can stop here for now?
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much.
We have one more.
Let's give a round of applause for... Okay. All right, sir, please, go on.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to throw a bit of a caution on jumping into new technologies. We're privileged to have everything natural. In Desperado, sometimes we jump into technologies in anticipation of the double gains or rapid results. My caution here is on the seedlings finding their ways into our country and to hands of people who doesn't even know their sources and what might happen in the future if they continue using those seeds. Here is an example. For instance, now you adopt a seed, you plant it, it yields very well. Not knowing that, unlike the organic one you are used to, you cannot get a seed from those yields. You have to go back to that person you have imported or sourced out those seeds. What that translated to, you are throwing yourself to be a slave to that person. If he denies you those seeds, you have to be on your knees. If he wants you to go right while your direction is left, you have to go left. So we have to be very cautious. Nothing is wrong with our seedlings. Let us develop from what we have. We can make it, use our own advanced level that will multiply ours, not accepting others. And come into quickly processing methods. You see, before the equipment we are getting now, or our own local fabrication machines that we try to quickly copy machines, equipment to process our products, also in getting multiple results in a very short time. The caution here is, you see, before we use grinding stone with stone to grind, if you happen to have a stone in your food, the danger is not much. We have not been ill with strange diseases like now. But what happens when you use two metals? You crush your grains with it. Tendency of those metal will be inside your food. And do anybody tells you when you consume it, it will melt in your stomach. It will give you more problems than you will even you will prefer going back to the grinding stones. So please, we should be careful and how we lead our own people, and to motivate. When we come in with motivations, we should now make specific choices of what we think might work for us. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay.
Hello. Yeah, I would like to answer that gentleman. I don't know your name, but I don't know if you realized that with what you said now, you actually wiped out the whole modern agriculture in the world. And if that modern agriculture will not exist, there will be hunger all over the world, not just in Africa. The people who are investing a lot of money and many years of research in producing hybrid seeds, they can't give you the seed and that you get the seed after and you will not buy anymore because they invested a lot of money to breed a variety of a vegetable, no matter what it is. It's a process of 5-6 years. And a lot of money and a lot of research and a lot of know-how is invested in it. Without that modern agriculture, not only the modern world, but even Africa does not have any future. When we talk about local breeds, you're talking about maize, for example. The local maize, which is being used here, is producing 1.5 tons per hectare. We are talking about 10 tons per hectare with hybrid seeds. So these are not things which are even could be comparable, because at the end of the day, when we talk about nursery here, not just in the modern world, even if the countries are developed in agriculture, as I talked in Ethiopia or Kenya, the farmer there doesn't know what is a seed. He buys a seedling. He books his seedling for the date that he needs and he gets them. That's how it works everywhere. So there is time that these things should come to Nigeria. Nigeria is a country of 200 million people that has to be fed, and there is time that Nigeria will be able to produce all the food it needs and not import it. And with this system where you want to stay, it will never happen.
Thank you, sir. I understand. Yes, sir. Okay, sir. I understand the point. In adopting new innovations, we actually have to be careful. You need to meet a professional. When we started, I told you something. I said, I went to a greenhouse that was constructed by non-professionals, and we had problems. Instead of the greenhouse vents to be expelling the heat, it was actually retaining the heat, and it was a big problem. So we are torn between, should we remove the greenhouse and start fixing it, or what should we do? For now, the solution that they had was farm only during rainy season, where the weather is cool. When it's hot season and the heat is too much, you can stop farming. So that was one of the problems. So in adopting new innovations, please ensure you actually meet professionals that will guide you right so that you don't make mistakes. And regarding our seeds, we have heirloom seeds, seeds that are grown and then can be regrown. And we should also maintain that. But now, maybe our seeds are prone to a particular kind of disease, or maybe it doesn't produce as much. What technology and innovation is doing is to leverage or add more benefits to the seeds we already have to prepare to produce something that can withstand maybe a hot climate, that can resist diseases or something. So innovation is actually good, but like you said, we are going to take precautions in adopting it and ensuring that as we are also promoting the ones we are getting outside, we are also promoting our own locally. Do I have more time? I have just, okay, let me take this question, then I'll come to you, sir. Okay. Okay, let me read out this one first. It's not, in nursery, do you need to cover the top as a roof? Yes, you can actually cover, if you are going to grow commercially, I'll advise you do it in a greenhouse. We said a greenhouse is a covered structure that you can control the climate or screen out insects. If you are going for commercial ones, I would advise you use a greenhouse so that it doesn't get infection. For example, you can get terrible infection that will just wipe out the whole nursery plant, or will even start giving you problem in the greenhouse or wherever you are planting it later. So, like whitefly, you have a particular whitefly tubercle that when it infects your crops, is going to really give you headache. We had a terrible experience with whitefly of plants of almost about 10,000 plants, and then it was infected. I think a few of them was infected, and the whitefly actually followed the tomato to the greenhouse. After a while, we started seeing diseases that I have not seen. It was a big challenge. We had this tobacco mosaic virus. It's a terrible one. It was something else. Yellow coil leaf virus too. So you just see your plant misbehaving. You are torn because it's not going to, it's going to be carrying other symptoms that you'll be like, okay, is it fertilizer? Is it temperature? We were just confused after so many research before we knew it was whitefly. So if you're going to commercial production, I would advise you cover the top. But if you're doing small, you don't need to really go for the greenhouse one. You can just do it in a place. But if you can afford it, why not? You should have a greenhouse. It will be better. Okay, sir. Then after that, I'll come to you, sir. The two last questions.
All right, thank you very much. Please, I think now, I'm an advocate of availability and affordability. In as much as these innovations are exciting, they have exciting features, can they be commercialized? What is the scalability of greenhouse products? Presently, most people that plant greenhouse can only sell in superstores because of the price. What measures can be taken to ensure that for even the common man, the low-income earners, to also benefit from the quality and advantages of greenhouse products? Because presently, the cost does not deliver a good economic projection for us to be able to say, let us adopt innovations that will be able to feed 200 million Nigerians. Or is it an exclusive preserve of the higher class?
Thank you. Please, the last question.
Thank you very much. Mine is not a question, but rather a contribution regarding the issue of hybrid seed and empowering farmers to develop their seed for the use. I want us to understand that in agriculture there are different value chains, and seed production on its own is an entire value chain of which the farmer of which that is not the primary activity of a farmer. A farmer is farming to produce for his market, and as such, he shouldn't bother to, invest in trying to produce seed. But as it is, a farmer can choose to focus on seed multiplication and seed production, which is another value chain of its own. If hybrid seeds are being produced with the potential to give certain benefits, such as yield, resistance to pests and diseases, tolerance to some harsh conditions such as weather, rainfall, and what have you. If a farmer buys a hybrid seed and can be able to get an excellent yield, and sell to the market and make a lot of money, I think it is wiser to do that rather than focusing on reusing or developing a seed that might not give him that quality. I was in Abeokuta 3 days ago, and I met a farmer who buys 1,000 seed at cost of 250,000. And he told me, you know why? I can buy the same quantity of seed at 500,000. So far, I am guaranteed the market. So far, I am guaranteed the performance of the yield. So far, I can make a lot of money from this seed. So the issue of integrating other value chain has to come with enhancing capabilities and aggregating activities. For a farmer who farms 1 acre, 2 hectare, 1 acre, 2 acre, 1 hectare, 2 hectares, I think it is not economically wise for him to start investing in, in developing seeds, because he will need to invest more in providing the necessary infrastructure to develop to reproduce or multiply the seeds, of which can be financial burden to the farmer. We know smallholder farmers doesn't have a lot of doesn't have a lot of finances to finance some of their activities. I'm talking about affordability and accessibility. I think we should forget about focusing, or rather misusing the word affordability, because it's creating more or less a hindrance for our farmers to invest more in agriculture. We should begin to see agriculture as a business. And if really agriculture is a business, we should have the mind of investing into that business for us to get, optimum benefit from that particular business. We have seen what great businesses are doing, investing more and more and more. Recently, I know a company that invested 2 million naira in acquiring tractors because they understand there is value in providing farm mechanization. Also, we have seen what Dangote have done with the refinery and all that. He's investing $12 billion because he understands that he will make at least $20 billion in 6 years or 8 years. So farmers should begin to see agriculture as a business. And if they understand that they are doing business, then they will have the mind to invest in it. So affordability of agricultural input, yes, we will want to see agricultural input becoming a bit affordable, but also what we should focus on is identifying the value in investing each kobo, each naira in procuring those input. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. He has said a lot, and then just to add a little to your question, it is because we are trying to see how we can produce more or make it available for everybody so that it's not so expensive. That is why workshops like these were put together. So now you know that if lettuce 1 kg is being sold 1.5 in the market, and an average or maybe a poor person, in quotes, cannot afford it, you've seen a cheaper way of doing it. You've seen or you've known the principle, so you can use local materials to do your greenhouse, or to make it simpler or cheaper for yourself. And as we produce more and more of this kind of structures are coming out, you see that the prices in the big market will begin to crash. And then before you know, we can even start fabricating our own in Nigeria, and before you know, everybody is doing innovative farming because that is the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Another round of applause for her, please. So whether it is greenhouse farming, hydroponics, vertical or nursery farming, when you farm in secured environments, it helps to determine the quality and security of your products. And in case accessibility or affordability is the challenge, there are local materials you can use. You know, and I started thanking God that I have a lot of bottles in the house. All I need to do is just I'll get some rope and I'll come and meet Mr. Israel Kidron for some seeds, you know. But the key thing is that the principles, knowing the principles are important, and we need to keep that in mind. So another round of applause for Ms. Gladys Igom. Thank you very much, ma'am. We're going to take a break for lunch, and it's for 30 minutes, so that we can refuel and then we can come back for the next 2 workshops, which I assure you are power-packed. All right? So I want to thank you again for being a part of the WenA 4th conference that is supporting entrepreneurship in Nigeria. Thank you very much. Lunch is served. So we're back here by 12:30. 12:30. Thank you.
The journey is about creating a meaningful path and enjoying the steps that lead us to our desired destination. Our mission at ONIDA is to guide you along this open road by establishing a sense of purpose every day. Our journey began almost 4 decades ago, and since then, we have become a globally recognized company in implementing agricultural and aquaculture projects. We have worked all over the world with a distinct focus on the African continent, aiming to improve the lives of the local people and their communities. Our vision stems from our knowledge and passion, which aims to build a sustainable environment across the regions we are involved in. In order to do so, we follow a unique sustainability model dubbed Sea of the Future, integrating 3 critical elements: social purpose. On top of providing access to modern technologies, we develop a learning environment and an employment curve that provides the younger generation the opportunity to adapt and flourish. Economic efficiency. We believe that industrial competitiveness is essential for every country, and ONIDA aims at providing that platform.